The following are the words of Lou Civello, president of the Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association.
Police officers risk their lives to protect our communities and keep our streets safe. These officers are the thin blue line that stands between your family and the criminals that would do them harm. We are your neighbors, protecting your neighborhood. Hold the line. Support law enforcement. Stand with the Suffolk County PBA.
The following radio show is live, except for the announcement you're hearing right now.
Welcome back to Your Island Live with your host, Tom Schiliro, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
And once again, welcome back. Moving right along on our Tuesday edition every other week. You know it, folks. We have with us the great Suffolk County PBA President, Lou Civello. Amazing the type of accomplishments that are taking place under the leadership of Lou Civello with the Suffolk PBA, getting the information out there. And I think if you look at the current state of affairs in policing in this country today, there is a really true need for good education, good information, and so on. The truth, common sense. It's just not happening. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that during the course of our segment. Right now, let's welcome Lou Civello to the program. Hey, Lou, welcome back, my friend.
Hey. Good afternoon, Tom. Great to be with you. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to your audience.
Absolutely. I mean, the Thanksgiving weekend, everybody was texting, had a great time. It was just a good time of year. You know what I want to say, though? When many people are out there and they're doing Christmas shopping or out with the Hanukkah holidays and so on, that our police officers are working midnights, they're working Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I think a lot of people forget that. They don't have the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Oh, I think I'll take the afternoon off because it's Christmas Eve or something like that. And I know the conversation in and of itself, well, all right, but I think people forget that. The sacrifices our officers make and your membership makes. And I think that's important to remember. They do it, and they do it gladly. They love the job. Many of our officers love the job, and this is what they do. But there is a drawback, and that's, you work holidays, Lou.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, many of our officers had their Thanksgiving dinner inside a police car. And it's a sacrifice they make. They're away from their families for many of the holidays. It's something that we certainly should appreciate. And, having done it for many years myself, I know what that sacrifice is like. So just a big thank you to all those officers out there that worked Thanksgiving, all those officers that are going to work throughout the holidays on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. We need them out there this time of year. Although it is a joyous time of year, a time for celebration and for counting all your blessings, it's also a time that those that would take advantage of others pick up their activities. And we see that, Tom, with the porch pirates. That are stealing those packages, those Amazon packages, right off people's, right in front of their front door, and just grabbing them and running away. We see it with the thefts from vehicles inside those parking lots, those busy mall parking lots, and you're going to see an increased presence of our police officers inside those parking lots, at the shopping malls, in front of those Targets, extra patrols in and around the holidays, looking for those people that would steal those boxes and items off your front porch. So we're out there, we're working, and again, thank you to all my brothers and sisters that are keeping us safe throughout the holidays.
Yeah, well said for that. And I sometimes I think we get that, and I think it's important that we put that out there. And also just a word, and you can say it as a law enforcement professional, what should, I hate to act somewhat sexist, but one of the things I worry about women that are going out after dark. I really shouldn't be this way, but I am, and I don't care. Women are victimized more than men in these shopping malls. And what should be the smart thing to do? The shopping malls are crowded. They have to park their car far away. I don't know, Lou. What would you say the common sense is on that?
Yeah, I mean, there are some common sense things that you can do to help protect yourself in those situations. First and foremost, never leave anything in view in your car on your seat. A purse, a wallet, items that you went shopping and are of value. Make sure you tuck those away. Don't leave them in the car. If you're forced to leave them in the car, make sure they are out of view. They're in the trunk. They're in a locked glove compartment. Because you are just asking to be ripped off if you put those things in view, because people are out there and they're watching and they're looking for opportunities, to make a new victim. So I would say certainly, be cautious, park in a lighted area. If you can shop during the daytime hours, that's always a good idea. And just be cognizant of your surroundings. So look about, if you see someone, there's nothing wrong if you see someone that looks out of place, someone that looks like they are doing to something, up to no good. There's nothing wrong with alerting the police for those sorts of things because, that's our job. We want to be out there. We want to make sure that we're proactive. So if you see something that just sets your spider sense off, you can always alert us to that by either dialing 911 or that 852 COPS number and keeping us in the know. Other than that, those Ring cameras are great for your front home. Make sure, I think they do act as a certain amount of a deterrent. So when those packages are dropped off, there's something that says, hey, we're watching. Also, if you have those Ring cameras and you see when the package is dropped off, try to collect those as quickly as possible. Don't leave them out there for an extended period of time. Make sure you clear your mail. People will look if the mailbox is overflowing. That sends a signal that maybe you're not home or maybe you're on vacation, and now you become a potential target for someone looking to, steal things for the holidays. So, just some simple common sense things that you can do to help keep yourself and your family a bit safer.
Now absolutely great advice. We know it's the season, but it's also the season for the lowlifes, and I'll say it that way, that are out there to prey upon law-abiding citizens. The beauty of it is that Nassau and Suffolk County really have of the two counties, they're right there in the top percentile of the safest places in the country, and that's a fact. You can look that up, folks. And I think a lot that has to do with our Suffolk Police Department, our Eastern departments, and what's happening out there. As you know, following Lou Civello is we have our district attorney on. And I love having the two together, following one another, because what the DA does, he talks about the enforcement of particular things, such as the porch pirate thing that Lou was just talking about. And also to be careful when you're out there shopping. Watch how you flash in the cash. Maybe you should do more on the plastic, the debit cards and the credit cards and so on. So, but whenever DA Ray Tierney speaks and talks about the programs that he's talking about, it all comes down to, again, the men and women that we have in our police department, Lou, because they're the ones that actually go out there and catch the porch pirates. And DA Ray Tierney aggressively pursues the prosecutions, Lou.
Yes, he does a phenomenal job, and we partner on a number of things, including, trying to get the legislation passed up in Albany that will allow us to do our jobs. He's been incredibly supportive of our police officers, and the number one thing, Tom, that he does that really motivates our police officers and lifts morale is he prosecutes crime. And I know that sounds like it should come as a foregone conclusion, but in this state, it's not. There are various parts, New York City in this state, where crime is not prosecuted. Crime is dismissed, and they would much rather prosecute a police officer or go after a police officer rather than prosecuting the violent criminals that are out there. So that is not the case here in Suffolk County. He makes it very clear that if you come to this county and you commit a crime, if you victimize the people that live here, he is going to hold you accountable. Does a phenomenal job, and we are very, very fortunate to have him.
Again, I know I'm getting some text messages to thank you for the advice, because a lot of people don't think of it that way. They run out of the house, and you know how it is. You have a family. They run out of the house. I got to get these gifts. I didn't get these gifts yet, and you're not thinking about personal safety. And I like the whole what you had to say, and so did one of my listeners who just texted me and said that. Too many times, and this is a theme that we brought up many times. We just seem to ignore what our officers do and take it for granted. And I was watching a video. This happened last week. You saw the video. And apparently a 67-year-old man had some sort of dizzy spell or whatever, and he fell into the East River. Okay. Now, Lou, the East River's a little cold now, don't you think? And,
oh, yeah.
And he falls in, and he's struggling. Hypothermia, from our training, comes pretty quickly. And that starts to shut you down. And you could eventually die from it too. So 2 Harbor Patrol officers were there on the dock. And this video of it, they just jumped in the water. They jumped in. This guy was struggling. There was just no other way they were going to save him, and they jumped right in, and they're just as cold as the 67-year-old man. I mean, they were risking their lives to do that. And one of the first things the officer said to the man in order to keep him alert, because he was starting to pass out, was, it's nice to meet you. I don't know if you heard that. He said that to him in the water. And, when you look at stuff like this, you may say, my God, I just want the whole country to know. Those two NYPD officers, they were no different than the finest we have in Nassau and Suffolk County. Sometimes I get criticized for this. Oh, Tom, too much with the police. It's not, folks. What happened in East New York, in the East River, it was East New York, what happened there is no different than what's happening all across the country. That same day, I saw two deputies in Florida pull a woman from a burning car. And she was a little discombobulated a little bit, but they broke the window. The car is in flames. They're pulling her out, and yet they don't get. Is it something that we shouldn't ask for at least the praise or the recognition, that we take this stuff for granted? We just talk about our officers have to work the holidays and do all of this. At the same time, Lou, they're risking their lives. And those people that are anti-police, I always tell them, if you don't like the cops, go hug a criminal, because that criminal's not going to do any of that stuff for you. Is there a level of frustration among the rank and file sometimes about what I'm saying?
There certainly is. And I think, it's voices like yours, Tom, that do sing the praises of our police officers. You do point out these just outstanding jobs that they do. I mean, what a tremendous amount of bravery to jump in that water, right? That icy, frigid water. Even if you're an excellent swimmer, even if you're in the best of shape, that frigid water will overwhelm you very quickly. So when you jump in that water to save somebody, you don't know if you're coming out yourself in the end. So it's just a really outstanding job. And like you said, it's something that happens almost every day, where a police officer somewhere in this county or somewhere in the state is going to stare down death in order to save somebody else. And it really does deserve that recognition, and we're very thankful that you're out there and, pointing these things out and getting it out there to your audience about the outstanding work that our police officers do. So greatly, greatly appreciated.
But again, it's almost like we don't do it enough. And yes, there are organizations. I think our president does. He recognizes. He's always got. In fact, Brandon Gallagher was a perfect example. I think they arranged for a meeting. You guys arranged for a meeting. And he praised the work that he did. We weren't getting that from former presidents, and we're getting that now. And I think when leadership acts like that, I think that the American people pay attention to that. There will always be people on the negative side of it. There's a case that you and I have talked about, and to me, it's a tough one. I get a lot of criticism from it, but there's something new with the case, and I just wanted to bring it up just to get your thoughts on it. And you know what I'm talking about. It's the murder conviction of Derek Chauvin. He stood trial for 14 days. Well, last week, Lou, he filed, his attorneys filed a motion, and it's a petition for post-conviction relief. Now, they made three arguments in that case. And the reason I bring him up, because I have a personal point of view that's not very popular. I think he was wrongfully convicted. I think he was convicted based on the general tenor of the times across the country. They had to convict somebody for something. But now his attorneys feel that the rhetoric has died down. The heat of the trial has died down, and they're naming that in their conviction. And they're claiming there was a faulty medical methodology of the autopsy, and they have the evidence to show it. I've read the evidence. In addition to that, in terms of his cause of death, and that the Minneapolis Police Department, the upper echelon, testified falsely in trial, that a judge found that the police chief committed perjury. Now, usually, Lou, when somebody commits perjury in a criminal trial, they throw the case out and they give him a new trial. They didn't do that in this case. The judge said, yes, they committed perjury by saying that the tactical with the knee on the neck thing was part of what they taught in the academy and so on. So I read through the 71-page post-conviction appeal case, and now a judge will make a decision on this. But anybody that reads that 71 pages And I had Liz Collins on from Minneapolis. She's a local news reporter. And I had her on my program, and her and I discussed this at length. I truly believe that Derek Chauvin was wrongfully convicted and at the very least should get a new trial based on a multitude of things in not 71 pages. And yet we see Mangione in New York City, and we see he's arguing illegal search where he clearly killed a man right on camera. And it was there. The evidence is there. And yet they're trying to get him off, but they won't even give Derek Chauvin a light of day. Again, I brought it up because I'm frustrated over this case, but I want to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Tom. So, here's the thing about Chauvin. It's even if you believe that he was guilty and that was the correct outcome, it's unequivocal at this point that he did not get a fair trial. Right, so that's the real issue. We can debate the merits of the case one way or the other, but when there's a lynch mob outside the courtroom saying, he's either going to be guilty or we're going to riot, that's a perversion of the justice system. The man deserves a new trial. He clearly did not get a fair trial the first time, and again, that goes against the whole American system, our system of justice, the rule of law. It cannot be allowed to stand. And regardless of what you think of the case, if you were someone that was tied to the screen and was able to listen to every nuance, he could not have gotten a fair trial because the jury was under duress. Plain and simple. If that jury came back with anything else but guilty, there was going to be violence, there was going to be riots, and the people made it very clear that was what was going to happen. So I think for the sake of the country, he needs a new trial.
And at least that. I mean, they're making two different motions. One is for a new trial, or another is the just a review of the evidence to see if it leans in favor of beyond a reasonable doubt by a judge to make that decision to have him released from prison. I think in the meantime, they were asking for that he do be released during the time period that there was a new trial, and also they're also asking for a change in venue. Again, I'm going to say this. I've looked at this case. I've talked to one of the foremost reporters on this case, Liz Collins from Minneapolis. She took the time out to call into our show here on Long Island to give what she had about it. And it is overwhelming, in my mind, convincing of that Derek Chauvin was really used in order to placate the crowd, and also a change of venue. You can't have it there. You have to have it somewhere else when one thinks about it. And as far as that's concerned, we look at the perception of police officers, what we were talking about before, and this particular case. Just a couple of numbers that came out today. State of Illinois, in order to defy federal law enforcement, released 1,768 criminal aliens with long criminal records. What does that do for the police in Chicago when they have 1,768 criminals on the streets now?
No, it's crippling. It makes their jobs exponentially harder. The philosophy behind this, not cooperating with federal law enforcement in terms of gang members, drug dealers, sexual predators, it's just mind-boggling to me, Tom. I honestly don't understand it. I don't understand how anyone could be for that. I understand there are nuances to this and the immigration policy, and we can debate those. But there should be universal agreement if we have someone that has raped a child, right, and we have the opportunity to get them the hell out of our country, we should do it, plain and simple. So to me, it's mind-boggling that this is even a debate. And shame on those politicians that are obstructing ICE from doing that very job.
We got like 30, 40 seconds left. How important is, come January 1st, the new year, but the political new year, in terms of dealing with some of the issues that you and I spoke about today?
Yeah, we're hard at work on that very issue. So I can tell you there are two bills that we're rather excited about that just went to the governor's desk yesterday. So one of those is the Banish bill. That's a mental health bill for police officers that would give those peer counselors who are police officers a certain amount of immunity as far as what they're being told, that they couldn't be compelled to testify. That removes a huge barrier for police officers to interact and seek that help and counsel and hopefully avert those terrible suicides like we saw last year. We had 4 of those. So it's a big tool in our toolbox. The other one is a bill that would reduce the property taxes for the families of fallen officers. So I'm very hopeful that the governor will sign both of those.
Love them both. Once again, Lou Civello, President of Suffolk County PBA. Lou, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Tom.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. When we get back, DA Ray Tierney coming up.